So Don continues asking, then there is no other service that we can at this time offer that fifth density entity of the Orion group, who is so constantly with us. As I see it now, there is nothing that we can do for him from your point of view. Is this correct? Ra says, this is correct. There is great humor in your attempt to be of polarized service to the opposite polarity. There is a natural difficulty in doing so, since what you consider service is considered by this entity non-service. As you send this entity love and light and wish it well, it loses its polarity and needs to regroup. Thus, it would not consider your service as such. Very important here. There's more to say by Ra, but first, so Don, this is the situation. Don is wanting to know if there's anything that they can do to continue giving service to this entity, the negative entity. This is the negative entity that's attacking all of them. And Don wants to know, is there anything that we can do? Now Ra says, well, that it is correct that there's nothing else that we can do, or that they can do. Because I explained this in the last video, I think, which is the futility of trying to be of help to somebody who doesn't need our help, and at the same time trying to offer our help. Trying to offer our help for somebody who is not asking it, and then trying to be of service in a way that we don't want to because somebody else is requesting it. So there's a futility there, because either you surrender to the will of the other and do what they want, or you give a service that is not asked for. So that's why Ra says there is great humor in your attempt to be of polarized service to the opposite polarity. Some people don't find it humorous. Actually, I remember Scott Mantelker saying, that's not funny. To me, it's funny. You know, it's I can see the humor in it. You're trying to be of service to somebody who doesn't want you, and you can't give them what they want. So I think it's funny. And you know, the way they explain it to, or they phrase it, is that you're trying to be of polarized service to the opposite polarity. You know, you're trying to give positive to the negative. No, they want more negative to become stronger in their magnet or in their attraction. But you see, positive and negative need each other, and so they work together. Thanks to that relationship is that we have an electromagnetic field. So there you have it. There's a natural difficulty in doing so, since what you consider service is considered by this entity non-service. So, hey, let me help you by giving you love and light and wishing you well, that you are, you find what you need and so on. And the entity is like, no, but I want you to terminate the contact. Don't wish me that, just give me what I want. And that is non-service to them. So they have to recoil. As you send this entity love and light and wish it well, it loses its polarity and needs to regroup, needs to recoil, needs to go away. Thus, it would not consider your service as such. Of course, that is no service to them. That is, that's not appropriate. Just like, you know, it's no service for us that they would paint images of negative things that we don't want to do. Yet they're offering it to us, and we're saying, dude, no thank you. Stop it. So yeah, it's a funny interaction. This only happens in 3rd and 4th density, by the way. Something that I've been talking about somewhat vehemently recently, because I see that there is so much confusion and so much misdirection in terms of this 4th density, which I admit it's part of this process in which we are waking up. We're sort of like waking up like in a concentration camp. You know, you let all of these go, and you have no guidance for them. You just let them go out into the world. And they have been in a concentration camp for years. I don't know, imagine 10, 20 years, or even your whole life, 30, 40 years, however old you are. And, you come out of the world and you say, wow, this is the world. Of course, I'm referring to the metaphysical world, the astral world, and astral projection, and remote viewing, Kundalini awakening, and dreams, and all of this. So we are just like coming out of a concentration camp and becoming dazzled by this new light that we're seeing. And so there's a lot of confusion there. One of the first one is that there is a battle, and I am the forces of light. The forces of light shall prevail, because we are one, and those who are negative must be obliterated. They must vanish. The light will win. The shadows will have to dissipate. But you see, this is all well and good because it's 4-density awakening. You see, and people will naturally gravitate towards that. All right? What do we do about it? Well, nothing. Things are going to be that way. This is the inevitable battle of 4-density, as Ra explains it. The battle between light and darkness, which is futile from the higher perspective. And now, lucky are we that we have such a knowledge, such wisdom given to us, not only by Ra, but by so many other traditions that know that this battle is futile, and you should never see anybody as separate from you. That's what 4-density is still doing. They see them separate. I mean, they actually, that's not right. They see them as one, but they want to help them. And they don't understand, in the highest wisdom, that they should be let alone. Just leave them alone and let them do their thing. They're necessary to this whole creation. You see, so this is a very subtle battle that happens in 4-density. Now, what's the highest wisdom? That, yes, we just let them be. And this is exactly what Ra is trying to tell Dun. I mean, you can try and offer them what they want, but you will be killing, Carla or any of you. Fortunately, Dun died in a very, I don't want to say questionable, but in a very mysterious way, and it seems to be connected to this channeling. But the point is that you can't give them what they want, and you can't do what they want either. You see, so it's futile. So what do? Just send them love and light, which simply means I acknowledge you. Thank you for what you do. I mean, I won't do what you're saying. I won't become that, and I won't accept the image that you're giving me of myself, but thank you. It's a good reflection. So, yeah, there's much to talk about here. Anyhow, let's go into the next part of this answer. What Ra says, on the other hand, if you allowed it to be of service by removing this instrument from your midst, you might perhaps perceive this as not being of service. You have here a balanced and polarized view of the Creator. Two services offered, mutually rejected, and in a state of equilibrium in which free will is preserved, and each allowed to go upon its own path of experiencing the one infinite Creator. So, this is it's a same explanation. You see that the state of equilibrium in between these two polarities, the highly polarized positive ones who is aware of the negativity of the other one and just simply offering their beingness. This is who I am. That which you say I am not. But thank you. I appreciate your opinion and your view of this vehicle. And yeah, the other one seeing, well, yes, I can manipulate you, so I'll just go on my own way. And that's what happens. So you can see the Creator. You see, this is the highest knowledge. You see, you have here a balanced and polarized view of the Creator, which is the two polarities working together to preserve free will. And each allowed to go upon its own path of experiencing the one infinite creator. You continue to be who you are, and I continue to be who I am. There's no reason for me to convince you to come to the positive side, or for you to convince me to go to the negative side. So why do we bother? It's okay. Thank you for showing me who you are, and hopefully you can appreciate me too. That's it. You can't? Well, that's on you. And this is a dialogue that can happen between humans too, right? And it does preserve this harmony between people. That's okay. You can be who you are. Nobody's questioning you. I have no ideals. This is me speaking. I have no ideals in this world. I don't think anything should be one way or the other. I see the corruption that stems out of ideals. I can see it. Sometimes it disguises itself as a benevolent root of righteousness and justice and beauty. But the devil has many faces, right? Temptation has many faces, and your own personality has many temptations. So as you follow the path of righteousness or idealism, and you end up in having to defend that which you believe to be true. You don't defend anything because you are admitting that there is an attack to you. Well, how can anybody attack you if you're not defending? So you don't defend. You simply are. And so this not idealism of mine. This is my view. This is not law of one or raw material. It's just my view. And I think it's congruent with what Rob would say. I mean, nobody can tell you what's right. Yeah. And nobody can tell you, thou shalt not, blah, blah, blah. All of this is, it's a free ground. It's a sandbox for us to do what we want. And so when somebody creates rules, pay attention to those rules. Beware of those rules, because they're not leading you to a positive path of openness and allowance and accepting. People confuse this with you. You have no discernment. Your sense of judgment is lacking. You're becoming too feminine, I was called recently, because of non-duality. And this is the perception. Let me clarify this, because some people may... you see, people think that non-dual perspectives are permissive, passive, and just non-judgmental, whatnot. Like being weak is the word that they describe it. Now, this is a misconception, because non-duality is coming from the perception that everything is one, whereas the people who are passive and that they claim, all these attributes are four-density feminine expressions, meaning they're very passive. They think everything is love, everything is one, we shouldn't do anything. And that's an escape mechanism, a coping mechanism, spiritual bypass. But that's a misconception. And I'm actually glad I was made aware of that recently, because I needed to clarify it. Non-duality, or law of one, basically the same thing, is just a state of recognizing the relationship between everything. That is not being permissive. You have your own discernment. You see, you never lose that. But for the masculine, aggressive people, which are very abundant right now, will try to tell you that your discernment is wrong. Why? Because they have an ideal. Whoop. There you go. Pay attention to ideals. Their ideal is that you should be such and such a way. Because, we have to go into this battle and we have to warn people about the negative and blah, blah, blah. You see? So don't confuse that. It's my biggest advice. Do not confuse what is non-dual or law of one-ish perspective of life with the 4D imbalance feminine aspect of humanity. It's a very important point. So I hope that makes sense.